Bish cunt, bish cunt, you don't wanna be a bish cunt. What's going on, sugar tits? Welcome back, glad you made it. It's another So-So production. We're doing it on Friday, February the 3rd, 2023. Bish cunt, bish cunt, you don't wanna be a bish cunt. What a beautiful song. You guys have heard of that one. You guys have heard of that one. Ladies, gents. Oh man, it is Friday. TGIF. Hells yeah, man. We're doing it. Thank you for joining me again wherever you are in and around this beautiful planet, aka the blue floating marble. If you're here in Toronto, it's freezing outside. In Canada, it's winter time, baby. But this is what I was talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Friday, Saturday, today, tomorrow. We are sitting at minus 30. Oh man, it is. Buckle up, buckle down. If you're here, if you're in the Great White North, I hope you're keeping warm. If you're south in the US, if you're down south in Mexico, if you're joining me from South America, if you're out there east in Africa, Asia, Europe, wherever you are, New Zealand, Australia, thank you for joining me. If you've been with me for a little bit of time now, thank you for all the love and support, sending it right back at you. And if you're just joining me again, once again, where can you find these videos? You're like, man, where can I find these videos? Where can I find these videos? And more of these videos on Instagram. Follow me. It's your boy, Rob Sadri. Subscribe on YouTube by searching Glad You Made It, or simply type in my name, Rob Sadri. You'll get the whole archive, the library, over 400 videos. And then you're like, man, I want to give you a fiscal pump. Where can I go to fiscally support the show to see it grow right before my eyes? I'm glad you asked. Patreon.com/RobSadri. Thank you very much. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, doing it big, doing it small, doing it medium. Oh man, let's get a sip of this bad boy. Let's have some fun today. It's Friday. Bish cunt, you don't wanna be a bish cunt. That one's just on top of the charts. You guys have heard of it. I'm sure you guys have heard of this song on the radio. Bish cunt, you don't wanna be. It's catchy, I'll tell you that much. Boys and girls, what's going on in and around this beautiful planet? A lot of exciting stuff. A little bit of sad news, but nonetheless, circle of life, 'tis what it is. Canadian groundhog passed away. He killed himself. Not like he didn't commit suicide or anything. I think it was just it was old age. This groundhog was coming in here every year and looking at his shadow and trying to see if it's going to be a long winter or if it's going to be an early start to spring. And we don't know here in Canada. Our groundhog just, we do have, if you're a groundhog, if you're an animal out there, if you're thinking about, it's like you had a good run. Maybe you're like, man, I had enough. I had enough of this, whatever it is. Whether it's due to old age, whether if you're an animal out there, if you're suffering from anxiety, depression, and you're like, how do I deal with this? I need help. There isn't much help, but there is definitely programs. We have assisted suicide up in this bitch. Anybody can apply. Literally, it's easy peasy. And we're just waiting for more of it to roll out. But as of next year, you'll be able to apply. Right now, it's just mostly if you're having financial difficulties. There's so many things you can do, commit suicide, kill yourself out there. There's that program. It's called MAID, Medical Assistance in Dying, MAID, not to be, again, very close in terms of names with our program. We're called Glad You. We're all about life here, but there are other programs out there. God forbid, should you be falling on hard times, you're like, man, I wonder what else I can do. You can kill yourself. Legit, dude, there's a program for it. There's not much, you're like, what if I got are there alternatives? I'm having a difficult time getting, let's say, housing. I'm on the streets getting, all I can find is a nickel and dime, and a nickel and dime will only get you a nickel and dime bag of the dirt. And if you're like, man, what if I want to get some sort of government housing? Well, there's 7 to 10 years waiting on a list if you want to get some sort of support for housing. If you're having a difficult time finding housing, just skip the whole tedious process of waiting and just end it. There's a program right there. It's it's going to be a large umbrella You know, we the way we sell it, the way we sell it is we go in and we say like, man, living with dignity, or no, wait, dying with dignity. That's a good one, because like you don't want people like not, because up until now, up until like 2022, people were just like dying and they weren't having any dignity. And we're like, we looked around here in Canada. We're like, what can we do to dignify people a little bit more? Why don't we just like kill them if they're having a difficult time financially? It was a fella a while back talked about him, forget his name, beautiful fella, but he was, he'd fallen on hard times, back problems, physical ailments. He couldn't afford to pay his bills, and thus, having done a ton of research, looking out everywhere else in Canada, what else can he do? Not much. So he decided to apply for the MAID program. Now, I don't know what happened to this beautiful gentleman. There are plenty of stories like this, and there will be more in the future as well. Just because, like, today, I guess we're talking about, what are we talking about today? A little bit about modernity, modern times, modern ways, modern methods. And yeah, so this beautiful gentleman applied for MAID just because, like, he's having a difficult time paying his bills, as I would assume a lot of people are these days. As I would assume a lot of people are. Because I got my ear to the ground. I got my ear to the belly of the beast. I got my ear to the... it's right there. If the ground had an asshole, and it does, my ear is right up next to it. Oh man, it smells a little bit like an asshole. But nonetheless, my ear is right there in terms of close proximity. I'm hearing things. I'm reading things. Just looking outside. And yeah, so... coming as of next, we're still like, we're trying to like, again, this program, this MAID program in Canada, we're selling it as like, it's a dignified, because again, forget about like living till old age with your family and your loved ones and having support systems. Dignity is about like, because there's like, let's say, there's a good argument to be made as well. Let's say you're battling cancer. You've tried everything, because you got to look at things from all perspectives. It's not all that, I don't want to be like, oh, it's just like for no good reason or nothing. But like, let's say you've come down with the cancer, the big C, you beat double cancer twice. It's come back. It's made a comeback. It never left, some say, or whatever. Or you're like, it could be anything. Literally, you stub a toe and you get into, you spiral. You stub your toe and you spiral down this dark, wicked path of depression, anxiety. You can't go outside. You can't have any relations. You can't hold down a job. Good Lord, what are your options? Kill yourself out there if you're, because that's what it is. That's what we're telling people essentially. Are you having difficulty paying your bills? Price of eggs giving you nightmares? Have you tried killing yourself out there? I mean, don't, but like, there is options. Don't be out here just complaining, not like thinking of options. I don't want you to be like, I don't have any options or anything. There's always options. Difficulty paying bills. There's an option. It's called MAID. Mental health crises. Are you battling with any sort of mental health crises? Fixing it it's doable. But it takes time, energy, money, resources, a community, family members, just a wholesome society, and that takes it's just too much time. It's too time cutting. Like, it's modernity, baby. It's modern times. We don't have time to like, we like quick fixes. You're like, no, we don't. Apparently we do, or maybe we don't. But that's what it is, man. You want dignity, you got dignity. So instead of, being taken care of like we used to, because we used to take care of each other. But that's a thing of the past, man. That's a thing of the past, man. Now it's like reframing your mindset. Have some dignity, won't you? Quit being a burden on society and, unable to keep up with ever-growing, gaping inflation. Try MAID in Canada. Housing has got you down. Try MAID. There you go. Careers being, you're losing jobs due to competition from AI, automation, just, whatevs. Try MAID. There is dignity in MAID. Have some dignity, won't you? You're lacking dignity in your life. God. So, our groundhog took his life, or not. Maybe it was just old age. I don't know. But this should be, if we're already not applying it to animals, we should apply it to, like, ever see a sad panda? Ever see a sad beaver? Just like, oh, I'm not chopping enough wood. There's MAID for that. So it's not just for, it is for only for humans at this point, but I say we roll it out across the board for animals as well. Because what about our animals? Don't they deserve dignity? Yeah, I love it. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, but that's just here in Canada. So if you were a fan, if you were just like throughout the decades, the century, past century, ideas of euthanasia scared you, or like because you heard of, you know, you heard of experiments, you heard of the Nazis going in there and like euthanizing people and just like, oh, you're mentally ill, let's put you down, you are whatever. And it could be anything, and it could be because, oh man, the beauty of mental health, that it's a big umbrella. And essentially anything could, like, are you deviant in any way, are you not normal for whatever reason, you don't fit into society like a nice piece of the puzzle, man, there's euthanasia for you out there. Because quit having no dignity, and also quit being like a person that doesn't fit in society. There's think, just, it's right in front of you. My goodness. So yeah, there was always that like negative wrap up, the Nazis using euthanasia and using, they if you were gay, they put you down. If you were, if you were a gypsy, that was a thing. If you were a gypsy, if you're a gypsy, like they put you down. Euthanasia, it was great. Not great in terms, like, it was great for euthanasia. I'm not for it myself. I myself, I'm the type is like, I'd rather live a life without dignity. Thank you very much. Dignity, this guy, no thanks. I like to go the difficult route. I like to challenge myself. I like to remain been challenged since '89. And let's just for a second, let us take a break for a second. And we're not sponsored by any companies out there, but if anybody would like to sponsor us, sponsor this show, you're like, what kind of product do I get? Well, let's just, for example, let's just pretend for a second, and let's not pretend, it is for real. Let me get into it. This program is brought to you by Rhino Dick Pills. Ever tried a Rhino Dick Pills? When life is hard, shouldn't you be just as hard? Try Rhino Dick Pills. I took a Rhino Dick Pill and I've been hard since '97. Do I gotta get an extra seat when I'm flying for my hard cack? Yes, absolutely. Do I need a booster seat for it when I'm driving? Just because, again, at 97, took a pill. Here we are. It won't go down. Rhino Dick Pills. Don't you want to stay up? Right there. That could be you. That could be your company. If you're like, man, we're looking for people to sponsor because we're that kind of company. Right here, dude. Imagine like Rhino Dick Pills. Imagine this sort of market, this level of marketing. There are no Rhino Dick Pills. I just want to, like, I know this was a great sales pitch. There are no Rhino Dick Pills. Like, maybe there are Rhino Dick Pills. I don't want there to be some sort of like, don't be DMing me, don't be looking at this program, be like, where can I get my Rhino Dick? But that was just an example of what we could do together. So Rhino Dick Pills. I'm not saying they're a thing. I'm also saying it's not a thing. I mean, I'm sure if you go to like, if you just drop down like Chinatown somewhere and ask around, or like, Little Congo, you go down to like Little Congo, you go down to, or you fly down to DRC, dude. You might be able to find some. And if you do, bring me some too, because, Rhino Dick Pills. For when the regular dick pills aren't just good enough, and you're like, man, where do I get Rhino Dick? Come to us right here. Well, again, I get caught up myself in the sales pitch. You get the idea. Rhino Dick Pills brought to you by more Rhino Dick Pills. Stay hard. Get it for your lady. Get it for your lady. That's right, ladies, because it's always been about the fellas, hasn't it? Get the hardest clit in town. Get that clit hard, lady. Rhino Clit Pills. That's right. There's two for every sex, gender, sex. And we know how all these, like, it's time. I'm all about fucking equity. Up into equity, equality, gender shit. I'm all about gender shit. I'm all about trains lives, man. Trains lives matters to me. I love trains. Choo choo. Trains lives matter. Nobody ever I'm tired of trains not getting enough respect. Trains lives matters the most to me. And this program is brought to you by Rhino Dick and Clit Pills. Go ahead and buy some and we'll send you more. Just buy it once, we'll send you more. You're like, but I thought this was like a once in a lifetime consumption and I'm hard. My clit's hard, it's poking me in the eye. I didn't even know my clit can grow that big. Is it even a clit anymore? I don't know. To be honest with you, this stuff's not been tested. It's more of like a folklore tale sort of thing when it's passed down really generationally through tales, men gathering around fires in camps with perhaps a ladies section too where there are still fires and camps. And people, pass around tales of being really hard in their peen and in their clit. There you go. Moving on, boys and girls. Rhino dick pills. Don't you forget it. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, what else is going on in and around this beautiful planet? People are, how do I have my ear to the ground? How do I have my ear to the ground's asshole? How do I because I watch things and I read things and I listen like many of you guys. Part of this is, I look around, I'm like, what are some indicators that are maybe potentially telling us that people are having difficult times out there? Well, there has been a recent video that surfaced here in Canada, here in Toronto, actually, relatively close to myself as well. It's here, it's in the GTA. A fella stole a vehicle, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, drove inside a shopping mall. It's called Vaughan Mills. It's a giant mall. It's a mall, and it's circular in design. If you want to, like, the way they've designed it, I actually personally I hate malls. Not a big fan of malls, especially this mall, just because it goes in circles, or circle one. It's one large giant circle essentially. If you want to get to the way they've designed it, is if you want to get from point A to point B, you gotta go all the way around so that you make sure you see all the stores, and it's tedious like that. You can't just be like, oh, is there a shorter way? No, there is no shorter way. It's just a circle, different entry points. But nonetheless, I'm not even here to like talk about the design of the mall. Malls are fine, whatever. Mall shopping, great. Malls are fantastic if you're the mall type of person. Not a mall person myself, Have I had jobs in malls? Of course. Have I driven to malls? Of course. Have I walked in a mall? Of course. Have I looked at a mall and said to myself, my God, could this location have been used in some other way, alternative way? Maybe, absolutely. Have I had dreams about malls being retrofitted into really cool places of gathering instead of a mall? What could it be? I don't know. That's too far into the future. The point is, some guy in Canada, in Toronto, stole a vehicle, drove inside the mall, and was essentially, I guess, trying to like rob a place. I'm not too sure. I didn't read too much into it, but there is a video of a person driving a vehicle inside a mall, and this is how these are clear signs, indicators that are, society's a little bit, people are maybe having a little bit of a it's a diff time. It's a different time. It's a difficult time, a little bit for a good portion of society, because that's what it is. Somebody essentially might have grown up playing a little bit of GTA, and they're like, why don't I GTA in real life, GTA here in Toronto? Why don't I steal a car and drive inside a mall and break into a store and try to, and that's where people are at. So there's like, modernity. The thing about modernity is, fam, you gotta constantly be on your toes. You gotta get educated. You gotta educate yourself. You gotta update your set of skills. And if you're not updating your set of skills, and if you've not been updating your set of skills, you're going to be falling behind. Because guess what, bucko? There's a ton of tech that's just being amped. We're just amping out tech, and there's a lot of jobs being lost. And at the same rate, there will be other jobs where you need to take it upon yourself. That's modernity right here, okay? You need to take it upon yourself to get further education, further training, and better certificates. More certificates with more certified certification for it to be ready for your next job. And if you're not doing it right now, guess what? You're gonna be left right back there in the dust. Man, it's dusty back there. Somebody should clean up in this bitch. I'm gonna fire someone. It's just me. There's nobody to fire. I'd fire a bitch right now just because it's you gotta, at a company, at a big corporate level business syndicate, that if I gotta let go of a couple of people because they're not dusting or what have you, I'll get a dust buster, fam. I'll get a dust buster. If I gotta cut a little bit of the old, because like that's the thing, I'll cut cost, buy back some stock in my own company, and something will happen. Regardless, the point is, modernity will have you getting certified and recertified. And if have you just finished graduation? Have you been working in the workforce for some time? Guess what? All your skills are going to be very redundant in no time, very soon, most of it. Which is why I'm advocating for UBI. And really think about this. And you're like, man, UBI was not that great of an example of how society should be, upheld. I'm not saying it's, the only way, but I'm just saying we should definitely consider it. And people like to point out to the pandemic and how it was rolled out in some places around the world. And that's probably the worst depiction of UBI during a man-made crisis. Because that way you can point to it and be like, see, when you get people forcefully locked down and you give them UBI, it's no bueno. I don't know. What about regular times UBI, where people still have access to work and still get a little bit from the old gov or something, just so they can make ends meet and keep up with the rate of inflation? Maybe get their beaks wet when it comes to the housing market. What about that? These are stuff that's really important to me, and I know it's probably important to you guys and gals out there, but what have we been talking about? People thinking outside the box in modernity. Some guy was probably at the end of his, before applying for medical assistance and dying, he probably thought, you know what, let me try my luck at real life GTA. Let me get in a car, let me drive through a mall and break in some store and drive out and get away with it in the age. This person, I'm gonna say, they're not like, a lot of times, retardation, it's not like certified, it's not like, but that's a good thing, because you don't want to really be like certified retards out there, you know what I mean? Because next thing you know, if you're like, I'm not sure if this person identifies as but it's like a retarded thing, but at the same rate, I'm not blaming the individual, man, because that's always too easy to do. Blame the individual and say, man, you gotta think outside the box. The fellow was thinking outside the box. First of all, he's thinking outside the box because he went in to the mall not during like the busiest hours. From the video, from what it seems like maybe the shopping mall was closed at the time. So he's not like, he's retarded, but like he's still not, and I'm assuming it's a he, by the way. I didn't even read too much into it. Might be a she. And again, I'm all about equity. It might be a she. It's presumptuous for me to be like, it's a he. Might have been a chick. I don't know, might have been a hot chick. If it's a hot chick, we'll let it go, to be honest. I'm not like, if it was up to me, if it was a hot chick in a car driving through a mall for like, because undergarments could be fucking expensive too. I get it. So, if it's a lady, I can let it go. If it's a dude, for some reason we don't feel as bad. If it's like a single dude, fuck that dude. But if it's like, what if it's a mother of 3 koalas? What if it's a mother of 3, sea lions, gotta feed her sea lion babies? Do I blame her? Absolutely not. I'd rather see that than, well, I wish there was just better programming, regularly scheduled programming, so that people can, because like, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. A lot of things, as we've said, it doesn't make sense. And I will be talking more and more about this, because I guess we are evolving, and we're evolving together. I'm evolving as an individual. Society's evolving. We are evolving together. We're growing. Our concerns are getting bigger, greater, faster, stronger. And modernity essentially means that whatever you're training for, it's going to be outdated, and very soon, just, you're gonna have to start. It's on you, fella. Think of something, because that's the thing. Regular education no longer pays off. Universities are, for the most part, a joke, unless you are becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect. Everything else can be learned online. So, which, by the way, at this point, one set of institutions that I would be like, I'm not a big fan of like defunding things. Institutions like universities and colleges, at this point, defund them. I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna say, let's defund the institutions that are handing out loans that you can't even get out of. How about that? I don't know. Maybe think it over, put it on the back burner. Let me know how you guys think. But the point is, people are feeling the pressure and are getting creative. They're like, man, I'm just gonna drift inside a mall and get away with it. And in a time where we live basically under CCTV and there are cameras everywhere, it's just like, I don't think this person thought it out all the way through. But at the same rate, like, you gotta like give it up for when people are trying. Okay, what are you doing out there sitting on your ass? God. Point is, ladies and gentlemen, it's modernity, and if you're not updating yourself right now, man, you're gonna be a thing of the past, fella, lady. And if you are updating, congratulations, you're still gonna be most likely in need of more updates and more retraining and newer. You're gonna have to learn. There's a lot to learn, and it's on you, fella, lady. And like, what happened in times where people are just like, when they hit a certain age or something, close to a certain age, and a milestone in life, and everything was supposed to be like, all right, okay, it's sort of kind of figured out, not to the fullest extent, but for the most part. Thing of the past. This is modernity, I think, or maybe it's post-modernity, or maybe it's post-modernity. I don't even know what it is, but I like it. I, for one, am very, because it's enlightening to know what it is that we're dealing with and like look it straight in the eye and be like, what are we looking at here? Modernity. That's what we're looking at. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, there has been what else has been going on? There's been a video that's been surfaced. It's been surfaced of a balloon. It's a spy balloon hovering over the US somewhere in the US. It's a Chinese spy balloon. Man, oh man, the Chinese have sent balloons to spy on us. And then when I say us, right, I'm in Canada, so like on y'all's down south in the US, but again, like given the close proximity between Canada and the US and how we're basically conjoined twins, we're ready to start our own OnlyFans account. Oh my God. But that's for another time and another story, depending on what you're concerned with these days. That's what it is. I saw this balloon and they're saying it's a balloon from the Chinese government, that they're spying on us with balloons. I'm a little bit bummed out because it's not like I would have been okay with it if it was like a balloon animal, but they went with like regular spherical balloon. No coloring, no nothing. It's just like, what is it? It's just like a regular balloon, and it's spying on us. And you're like, does it matter? I'm glad you asked, because with everything being online, it's like, aren't we all like not me and you, but like governments overall, aren't we all just being spied on like all day, every day with everything, literally? They're like, we gotta get rid of TikTok. They're spying on us, and like, don't we do that with our social media accounts? And not that there's somebody like listening to you or me, because there's nothing but people like Edward Snowden. It's what it is what it is. Again, it's just sometimes the charade of it all. I guess going back a little bit to Wednesday's topics. But the point is, yeah, so there's a balloon, and I'm like, you know what? I got a little bit happy. I'm a little bit bummed out about the shape and the fact that it's not a balloon animal spying balloon device from China, because like, put a little bit of effort. But at the same rate, if that's the only way they're spying on us via balloons, fam, yo, low-key, that's what I'm talking about, fam. Like, we got the text, these guys are sending balloons. What is this, 1877, when you wanted to like spy on your competition, but then you did it with a balloon via balloons? Balloon spying? Losers. Ha! I think you should feel safe and secure in knowing the balloon is... What kind of info are you even getting from a balloon? It wasn't even a big balloon, dude. It was like a small to medium-sized balloon at best. I bet you there's not even a person in that balloon, so it's like a spy balloon with no spy in the balloon. How would they even get the person inside the balloon? I bet if we wanted to do it, I bet you we could do it. We got text, not the CCP, maybe they got text, but like, ours is better. Ours is better. So that's what it is. We see your balloons, China, and we see that you're spying, or you're trying to spy. We see what you're trying to do, and we'll send a couple of our own balloons down there. That's right. We'll send them out, boys, ladies, send them out. I'm just saying we should send out a couple of balloons just so they don't get all fucking cocky and be like, oh, look at our balloons in your airspace. Trying to get up in this bitch? Trying to get into my airspace? Our airspace without my knowledge? I don't think so. We're gonna send out a couple of balloons, and guess what? You're not gonna be like, you won't even be able to detect this shit. I'm talking colored balloons. I'm talking a whole, we'll send out people who are gonna be, going out into society. We will send out Westerners into your society, China. Babies, little Western babies who will be born inside of China, who will grow up with modernity and lots of skills like training and balloon animal contraptions. That's right. and using helium too. That's right, helium and balloons. And these people, you'll be like, oh, look at all these beautiful new foreigners in our country. Isn't it what a weird mix? Because we're always used to having people go from the east to the west when it comes to immigration and migration and all that jazz. But it's been reversed. It's been the flipping tables have been flipped. There will be Caucasian looking and not so Caucasian looking fellas and ladies showing up on your shore and engaging in all sorts of balloon making and getting inside balloons. And that's the thing too, like we'll get our, because that's, you didn't put any like people inside your balloons, we're gonna put people inside our balloons. Think about that. Little babies, little black spy, little baby, mixed black and white baby spy in a balloon. Deal with that, China. Deal with it. So it's like, that's what it is. I did see that and I was like, oh, the Chinese are spying on us with a balloon. No big deal. We'll spy on them with whatevs. Like you want it, you got it, son. What kind of game we playing? It's nation state spying on nation state, bitch. And everybody's info's just getting collected everywhere, left, right, and center. And that's what it is. I'm not even worried about the Chinese, dude. I just walk into Tim Hortons, all of a sudden my data is being like hijacked and sold to somebody for something, and then I hear about it down the line. Your info was hijacked when you were inside a local Tim Hortons, and you'll get a coffee and a donut from Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons, for you guys who are not Canadian, you don't know, it's a chain of coffee chain, and donuts. And apparently you walk in there with your Wi-Fi or your Bluetooth or something, your device in your pocket. You don't even need Wi-Fi, you don't even need Bluetooth. It's just that they tap into the back end and they find out what kind of porn you like, so that they can put a little twist of something on a donut. So when you walk in, you're like, man, these donuts sure do look like tits, but they're sweet also like tits. I wonder why I get cravings for donuts. Think about the shape of donuts. Sexualizing food. Despicable. But the point is, where's all the data going? It's everywhere. It's loose data. I'm not even worried about that. Like, people are like, man, we should worry. Like it's over in terms of like privacy, access to data. Like, you walk into any store, potentially you could be getting lost data. I've lost so much data. I don't even know, dude. Like, my data's out there. It's modern times. I don't feel so good about it for some reason. I used to feel, I do feel better now, because like way back, like 5-10 years ago, I was like, oh, my data, don't be looking at my data. My data was like, you could be looking at my asshole and I wouldn't say anything, but like my data, I kept it close. My data was my clit, dude. My data was my, I put a chastity belt on that shit. You wouldn't be able to get near my data, but now it's just fucking data city. It's loose. Get access to my data so you can sell me more shit. But the joke's on you, because I barely got a dime to spend, which is, haha, yeah, that's right. There you go. With all the data, you're like, how do we get him to be more of a commodity consumer of goods and services? You won't be able to get a dime out of me, because I won't spend a dime. But the point is, it's modern times, baby. And if the Chinese think they can get in there with their spy balloons, you losers, we will send out spy kites. We will send out other flotation devices that'll we'll use lasers, fam. We will, Lockheed and Martin, we are big time military industrial complex. We got a complex, and it's all about industry and the military. And you're playing out there with balloons, fam. We are fucking tripping balls on lasers. And I've already said this. I've said this plenty of times before. I'll say it again. The future is lasers. And our military producing, the war machine is obsessed with lasers. And I, for one, so you're out there in China coming here with balloons. What was that? Oh, we just popped your balloon with our lasers, fam. We got lasers. And what is laser if not just a concentrated ray of light? So deal with that shit, son. When next time you want to be sending out balloons and opening up secret Chinese police stations up in the, maybe we've got secret Chinese police stations in secret China. We don't. We probably don't. Most likely we don't, because it's just like, it's easier for your population to come in and intermingle with our population, but like, because again, like, but as soon as like give us 10, 20, 30, 50 years of reverse immigration, oh, and that way you get a little bit of mixed bag in your population. You're like, oh, who are these foreigners? You know, potential members of society who are nice and reg people, or babies from cradle to grave, to the grave, the babies. We will raise babies in balloons and we'll send it up there with fucking devices that'll take note. Oh, it's noon, it's 12:30. I guess these guys are a lot into noodles. Bitch, you don't even know that we know that you're into noodles. You didn't know that we know that you think you think I don't know your noodle eating habit? Guess what kind of utensils you use? Chopsticks. How do I know that? Watching you, China, and other adversaries too out there. Don't you be thinking like it's not just the Chinese. If the Russians decide to send a spy balloon, we will send out more spy balloons. And if we run out of balloons, we'll go old school. Not only do we have lasers, I will not hesitate to use a damn pigeon. I will attach lasers to our pigeons and fucking fly it out there, you little cunts. Should you be dabbling in the spy games, but unless you're just like regular folks, I love you, my Chinese, my Russians, my peoples all around the world, really. And this is just don't let this be this, you know, don't let it be anything other than a little bit of motivation for you to update yourself, because it's modern times, and modern times you're talking to fucking balloons that aren't even real balloons anymore. You know, you show up to a kid's birthday party, it's your niece or nephew's birthday party, and there's a bunch of balloons, there's a clown, maybe somebody hired a clown, and they're making all sorts of balloon animals. Go ahead and pop those balloons to see what's inside. You'll be lucky if it's just spit. You'll be lucky if it's just spit, if it's not filled with all sorts of information. You know, the middle names of people who've been attending this niece or nephew's birthday party, or bar mitzvah, or what are other rites of passage? Birthdays, you know, mitzvahs, getting a late procedure done, like a late, maybe you're 15 and a half and maybe your family decided to, you know, give you your, you know, maybe you're getting circumcised at a really late age. It's a rite of passage, and there's a clown monkey blowing up balloons. But have you done your due diligence in terms of when it came down to hiring that, like the clown monkey with the balloons? Do you even know what if the balloons are made in China? What if they're spy balloons? So everybody needs to be vigilant. Everybody needs to be up, like looking up in the sky. It's really bright outside today. So don't be staring don't stare into the sun for more than, I would say, what's the safest, you know, don't stare into the sun longer than say 15, 20 minutes. After that, if you're still staring into the sun for like more than 15, 20 minutes, I think that's when you can like clinically go blind. Not quite sure though, do test it out. There are some people, like if you travel, or just, you don't even need to travel, you can look online. There's like a dervish somewhere just staring into the sun, licking his own asshole and staying hydrated all at the same time. So if he can do it, it doesn't mean that you should, but I'm just saying we are all capable of different things. I'll tell you one thing though, that fella's skills is not going to be easily replicated by AI, or like, you know, you want a real dervish licking his own asshole, sun gazing. That's magic, and that's culture. And also learning. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, the point is that it is, don't be a bitch cunt, don't be a bitch cunt. Man, that song is just #1 on top of the charts. It used to be on the bottom, but then it decided to be a top, because that's what it is. Sometimes hits just be coming out, and sometimes they're like, oh, I want to be a bottom hit, and the next thing you know, Reverse sees, oh, top hit, fucking like going at it right there, this is it, oh, I'm on top of that shit right there, oh, smack right there. So what should you be concerned about in terms of modernity? Think of alternative ways of penetrating the market. Think about penetrating the market from below. Maybe the market likes being penetrated from below right there. Oh yeah, spit on the market from below and penetrate the market. If the bottom portion of the market is not suitable for you to enter, have you tried penetrating the market perhaps from the side? This is plural sides. If you really think about it, it's a 360 roundabout. And you can do loop-de-loops with the market too. So go ahead and spit on that hand and try to just penetrate the market from the side. And hey, I'm not gonna say it's easy. You're gonna have to update yourself. Maybe you never even thought about, like, I've heard of penetrating from the bottom and penetrating from the sides to get inside the market. And none of these openings seem to be open. It's a tight market. It's a tight market. It's like really tight. So start small. Maybe go from the top. Maybe start going from, because a lot of times it's like a top-down approach with life and things happen top-down, but you've always been on the bottom and you're like, what if I revert? What if I get on top of the market and penetrate the market from the, it's doable, it's possible. It's not been done before, but I'm thinking it's 2023. Ever think of the market as a large triangle pyramid scheme that is just, each layer is consisted of a pyramid scheme within a pyramid scheme within a pyramid scheme. It's kind of like a Russian doll of pyramid schemes, which is my understanding of the market. So go ahead, chew on some rhino dick / clit pills and penetrate the market, won't you? And think about this and your family as well. Think about your loved ones. The more you put off penetrating the market, the more you, the faster the doors of opportunity will close in on you. Oh my God, the doors of opportunity are closing in on me fast, is what you'll say if you're not thinking about penetrating and also adapting and getting certificates and more certificates and recertificates and education and re-education and more higher education. A little bit of lower education wouldn't help, or it would help. It would help. Education in all senses. And you need to fucking update yourself, sir, ma'am. And yeah, that's what it is. So if you're like, how do I get into something that's not attainable? What are my options? As previously mentioned, there's the MAID program in Canada, so you can offer yourself if you're having a difficult time. If you are just, if you're mentally ill, physically ill, even if it's not permanent, you're like, what if it's just something that I could recover from really fast? But also, have you tried medical assistance in dying in Canada? Because it's so available. We put it all on their table. Like, it's the table. This is the table, and we put all the options on the table. You're like, but I don't see any other options. Maybe you're blind. Maybe you're blind, and you're like, what if I'm blind? Can I apply for MAID? You most likely, if you could try, you could try. I'm not saying don't. You could try. Again, if you're disabled, if you are incapable of making ends meet, have you lost your job? Is rent just going higher and higher and higher, matching basically, sometimes even surpassing mortgages? You could try. There's options out there. You could either get re-educated, reinvent yourself, reinvent your baby, have you tried reinventing your partner? You know what I mean? Because it's always been on you. For the most part, it's always been on you. Reinvent your partner and put them out there. Honestly, if one of you, if you're a family of two at least, one of you should pimp out the other one, depending on whoever's hotter. Think about that. And you're welcome for these great ideas. Because that way, like, one of you could be like pimping the other one out. Whoever's the hottest, doesn't matter, male, female, it doesn't matter. You can pimp yourself out, pimp your partner out, and whilst somebody is, rolling up their sleeves and giving happy endings, beginnings, middles, and ends. It starts with you. Happy endings. The other one can be on the lookout, because wouldn't you feel safer that way? Think about it. Instead of doing it all solo on yourself, you're like, I'm a big man, I'm a big lady, I can pimp myself out if I wanted to. And you should. You really should. The sooner you start, the more opportunities you will have. And that's what it is, baby. And that's what it is. We're here. It's Friday. I want you to know that in modernity, there's lots of hope. There's lots of opportunities out there. Your education is worthless. Job security, seemingly non-existent for the most part. Any sort of security, seemingly non-existent for the most part. But there is hope in knowing there is one program in Canada that will assist you should you want to get assisted. And sometimes people don't even want, the thing is, I'm sick and tired of people that don't even know how to get help. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the help is out there, fam. All you got to do is like step into the booth, and I don't know how it works. I'm thinking like two sorts of like liquid substances go into your body. Next thing you know, 5, 10, 20 minutes later, it's lights out. And I hope you remember to put somebody in a will, in terms of like somebody should get something. You're like, I don't have anything. It's best I don't even create a will. And those are unfortunate circumstances, but nonetheless, we are doing it together. It's the way to succeed in this day and age. It is to stay updated, as what I'm telling myself. It is to constantly stay updated. As a matter of fact, there's not a half hour that goes by that I don't update myself. I'm basically like a software update on an Android or an Apple iPhone phone. You know, I'm like, because that's what it is. Sometimes people wait around and it's too late for you to get updated. Bitch cunt. Bitch, don't be a bitch cunt. So we could create programs like the UBI, or significantly raise wages, or, fucking do the economy different than we've been doing for like pretty much all of time. And of course, things have gotten drastically better. Of course, this right here is the most drastically best time of all times, for drastically speaking, for the majority of the publics. So don't you go out there and be a Debbie Downer, okay? Be a Ursula Upper. Yeah, that's right. It's all about the attitude. It's all about the updates. And if you're not willing to take a step, if you're not willing to climb into a balloon, fill yourself and lather yourself up in whale lard and fat, because you gotta, like, it's a tight balloon. If you're not willing to either do something for your country or just, for yourself and for your family, if you're not willing to lather up and get inside a balloon naked and go out there and do something that's worth value, and then collect some data in a fucking balloon. If you're not willing to do that, I've had it up to a good level with you, okay? Because there's options out there. There's options for everybody, and I don't want anybody to be like, man, is my certification like good enough? No. Am I trained enough? Barely. Should I get more you should always, that's why I've been saying, fam. That's why I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. It's trains lives matters. And I was probably the first. I've yet to still hear anyone really stand up for trains rights and the trains rights movement. I've been training. I'm all for trains lives. Trains lives matters the most to me. If you're anti-trains lives, you're not getting on trains. You're not willing to get trained. You're not willing to go ass to mouth on a choo-choo train of fun. You're not willing to go peen to ear. You're not willing to go tit to ear. You're not willing to go nip to nip. If you're not down for trains, then you're like, I'm not down with trains, because this is modernity. This is modernity, fam. Get used to it. If your skills are redundant, it's already too late. Go ahead and just, apply for MAID in Canada. If you are having any sort of issues, resolving it, thinking about proper solutions just takes way too much time and effort on our part. And as a society, we're all about, cutting the weakest links out of society, because the saying goes, you are as strong as your weakest link. And if you're a weak link out there, the thing of the past was that we're all in it together. We're gonna put in an effort so that everybody's like taken care of. But modernity is about hardcore values of industry and putting profits above people. And if you are not willing to get hooked up to some sort of a computer somehow, so that, like, if I can't monitor your behavior and your thought patterns and basically look at you when you're working, and if I'm not seeing an efficient worker, are you going online on social media platforms? How dare you? Demerit point, social credit point for you that is on the social media platforms. Even though I've not created the social media platforms, but I put the social media platforms so that I could do the spying, surveilling, thought control, guiding, passing down of information, gathering information, you know? So if you're out there on the PC if you're on the company's dime and you're supposed to be updating and working, and for a second you happen to glance over at something that's not like work related, there will be a little shock to your system, like a little rat that you are, that I want you to be, that they want us to be, that we are. No, that we're not, but we are. No, we're not. We're humans with dignity, tons of dignity up in this bitch, lots of dignity, more dignity than anyone can ask for. Way too much dignity, so much dignity. The point is that the future in modernity is more surveillance of the worker, more pushing the worker to their limits and paying them less if we can, and we will, because we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we are doing it. We have been doing it for decades. It's been going great. It's been going great. It's been going great. The golden age is behind us. Some would have liked the golden age to be ahead of us, but it seems that it's behind us. It's definitely not close. It's definitely not close. I'll tell you that for the most majority of people, you know. But it's still like that's the thing. I don't want you to you know, because if you're at least willing to update yourself, things are fucking gonna work out. A-okay. You know what I mean? Boys and girls, where can you find these beautiful videos? Where can you subscribe? You can subscribe on YouTube, once again, by searching Rob Sadri or Glad You Made It. You can follow me on Instagram and help the old algorithm out. You can check out patreon.com/Rob Sadri and fiscally support the show so that we can grow as much as anybody else out there. Maybe even a little bit more, maybe even a little bit less. Not that we're ever like, you know, it's just about constant growth. As long as we're on the upward trajectory that we are, I'm not complaining. We are gathering steam. We are gaining speed. We are getting stronger and better and faster. I'm going to be back here again on Monday, because that's what we do around here. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So in the meantime, you guys have fun. I'm going to have fun updating myself. And yeah, love you all. I'll be back here again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace out.